Hello guys, today I have a nice little exciting project for you. It is a drawing app, so as you can see we can draw like a regular drawing app. We can change the color like so. We can clear our canvas. Let's draw something again and we can click the save button to save our drawing as an image. So as you can see our drawing was saved as an image. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So first I'm going to create an index.html. So let's say index.html. We're also going to need a style.css, so style.css and a main.js. Okay, in the HTML let's create a basic markup. So we can say exclamation mark, hit tab, close the sidebar, and let's link our HTML and CSS file here. So we can say link related to href will be style.css, and do the same for the script. So we can say script source equal to main.js. Now we need to have a canvas, so let's create a canvas with the ID of canvas. Okay, let's open it up with our live server. So open with live server. Now we can see our canvas, so let's give it a background color. So we can say canvas to have a background color. For now let's say just red. Okay, here is our canvas. Now let's remove this little space that we have here. So we can say we can target everything and give it a margin of 0, so margin 0 and a padding of 0, so padding to 0. Okay, now let's go to our JavaScript and target our canvas. So we can say let canvas equals to document.getElementById by canvas, and we're gonna set the height and width of our canvas to the entire window. So we can say canvas dot height equals to window dot inner height, and canvas dot width equal to window dot inner width. So now our canvas will span across the entire windows. Now to draw anything on the canvas, we need to have a context of the canvas. So we can say let context equal to canvas dot get context 2D, and for now we only support 2D rendering, so that's why we're saying 2D. So now we can remove the red background, so let's delete this. And what we want is when we move our mouse, we want to draw a path, right? So we can say window.addEventListener. So window.addEventListener, we're gonna listen for the mouse move event. So we can say mouse move, and we're gonna call this function. This function will receive event as its argument, so event. And let's say we can get the x and y coordinate of our mouse, saying something like let mouse x equals to e.clientX, client x, and mouse y equals to e.mouse y, so e.client y, sorry. And now let's just console log this two and see what we get. So console.log, and let's console log both mouse x and mouse y. Let's see what happens if we open up our console. So as you can see, as we move our mouse, we get the x and y coordinates of our mouse. So now we have to just draw a path in the canvas. So there are many ways of doing that. One way would be keep drawing circles as we draw our mouse. So let's try to do that. So to draw anything, first we need to say ctx.beginPath. So let's say ctx.beginPath, and to draw circle we use the arc function. This takes a lot of arguments. Let's see what is that. The first two is the x and y coordinate, second one is the radius of the circle, the third one is the radius of circle, the fourth one is the starting angle, and the fifth one is the ending angle. Since we want a full 360-degree circle, we're saying math.pi times 2. Okay, now we have to say ctx.fill to fill it with a color. It will be black. So as you can see, now as we move our mouse, we get this path drawn. So let's decrease the radius, so we can say 5, and it's working. But if we move our mouse really fast, as you can see, there is gap between some points, so we can't use the ctx.arc function here. Instead, what we are going to do is, let's say our mouse was here and we moved it to about here. So what we are gonna have to do is draw a line between these 2 points. So let's see how we can do that. To do that, first we need to know what was the previous position of our mouse. So let's create a variable called let prev x for previous x. I'm going to set it to null and do the same for the prev y. So let previous y, so prev y equals to null as well. Now in this function, first we're going to check if the previous x and previous y is null. So we're going to say if prev x equals to null or prev y equals to null. So prev y equals to null, we're gonna simply say prev x equals to e dot client x and prev y equal to e dot client y, and we're going to return. So we don't want to do anything, but when the next time this function is called, the prev x and prev y will be set to this. So this if statement will not be executed, so these codes will be executed. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And also we have to keep updating our previous x and previous y, so let's copy that here and paste it. And as we have discussed, we won't be using the arc function. Instead we're gonna draw a line. So first we have to move our context to here, so we can say ctx.move to the previous mouse position, and then draw a line to the new point. So we can say ctx.line to the new mouse position, like so. And for line, instead of using fill, we use stroke, so we can say ctx.stroke. Okay, let's see now what happens if we move our mouse. As you can see, a line is being drawn that is not getting separate no matter how fast we move our mouse. Okay, so but we don't want the line to be drawn forever. We want the line to be drawn only if we press down on our mouse and stop drawing when we release our mouse. So to do that, first we're gonna create a variable called let draw equals to false, and we're gonna check if the draw is set to false. So explanation mark draw. So if the draw is set to false, we're again gonna return, so nothing will be drawn. And now we can say window.add event listener mouse down. So when we press on the button of our mouse, we can set the draw to true. So draw equals to true. So now as we press on our mouse, the drawing starts, but even if we let go our button, it's still drawing. So what we have to do is say window.add event listener mouse up. So when we release the button of our mouse, so mouse up, we have to say draw to false. Okay, as you can see, now we only draw as we keep pressing our mouse. So now the path is too thin. We can say something like, let's go here and we can say ctx.line width. So line width to be, let's say something like 5. Let's see how that looks. So yeah, 5 should be good enough. Now let's create this navbar that we have. So let's say we're gonna create a nav, so we can say dot nav, and we can say hello for now. And you will see we have this nav in the bottom, but we want it to be all the way to the up. So let's target that. So we can say dot nav. Let's give it some height and width. So let's say width of, let's say for example 310 pixel, and a height of, let's say 50 pixel. Let's give it a background of red for now. So background red. As you can see, we have this navbar here, so but we want it in the top fixed, so we can say position of fixed. The top should be 0, and left, let's set it to 50%. And now we see the navbar, but it is not centered horizontally, so we can say transform equals to translate x. So translate x will be -50 pixel, so -50 pixel, and now it is centered. So inside that we have these circles or balls, so let's create that. So we're gonna create a div with a class of color. We're gonna call it color, and we're gonna have 1 2 3 4 5 of them. So let's copy it 4 more times. So 1 2 3 4. Now we can see them, so let's give them some style. So we can target color, so dot color, and we're gonna set them to have a height of 30 pixel, a width of 30 pixel, a background color of, let's say blue, and we want them to have a border radius of 50%, so there will be a perfect circle. So 50%. Okay, and now we want them to be beside each other, so we can say our nav to have a display of flex. So display flex, and we can align them vertically by saying align items to center. And we can also say justify content to space around, so justify content to space around. So this looks much better. And we also had two buttons, so one is called, okay, let's say one is clear and one is save. So let's create those buttons. So we can create button, one will say save, one will say clear, and the clear button will have a class of clear, so we can say class clear. And another one will be save, so give it a class of save and we'll call it save. Now we have to style them as well, so we can say button, set the border to none and outline to none, so we can say border to none and outline to none, so we can say outline to none. Okay, now they need to have some padding, so we can say padding at top bottom of 0.6 em and left right of 1 em. Okay, now we are also on some border radius, so we can say border radius of 3 pixel. Let's give them some color. I already have some colors drawn, so let's try this one. Control C, so we can say button to have a background color of the color we just copied, so this. And save button should have a different color, so dot save, our save button should have a blue color, so let's copy the blue color, background color to that blue we just copied. Okay, and they also need to have a color of white because dark color is not looking good here, so we can say color hashtag FFF and here put a semicolon here. Now we can remove this background of red, so let's remove that. And as you can see here, we don't have much opacity. The opacity goes to 1 only when we hover on them, so let's do that. So we can say nav to have a opacity of, let's say, 0.3, and we're gonna say transition, so transition to be, the transition will be opacity, so we can say opacity, let's say the time should be 0.5 second. And when we hover on the nav, so nav shift colon hover, when we hover on the nav, the opacity should be 1, so opacity 1. So as you can see, now when hover on them, the opacity goes to 1, otherwise they are slightly transparent. Now let's color these individual balls, so we're gonna say the first one, so you can say dot color colon nth child, so the first one should have a background color of black, so we can say hashtag 000, and let's copy it 4 more times, so 1 2 3 4. And our second one should have this background color, so let's copy this and let's paste it here, so Control V. Let's copy the second one and target our third child, and this will have this color, and the last one this color, so let's copy that, paste it, and this should be 4, and and our fifth one will have a color of white, so hashtag FFF. And let's give them some border as well, so let's say border of, let's say, 3 pixel solid, and let's say gray or light gray. So okay, I think light gray is not a color, so let's say FFF, so hashtag FFF, and let's make it a little darker like so. And when we hover on them, as you can see, they used to grow a bit, so we can say color colon hover, they will have a transform of, we're gonna scale them to 1.2, and we can set the transition to transform, so we can say transition to transform. So transform 0.5 seconds. So now as we can see, when we hover on them, they grows a little bit. Okay, now what we have to do is when we click on a color, the style of this path or style of our drawing color should be changed to that color. So let's do that. So first we need to target this color. So we can say let colors, so CLRS colors equals to document.query selector all. So document.query selector all query, so query selector all dot color. This will give us a node list, and we can convert the node list into an array so that we can loop through them more easily. So we can say colors equals to color array dot from colors. So this will convert the node list into an array. So now we can say colors dot for each color. So for each color element we're gonna use a click event listener. So we can say color dot add event listener click, and we're gonna set the stroke color or the stroke style to whatever the background color of our button is. So let's see if that works. So right now it is black. Let's click on this red color, and it's not working. Let's see what happened. Let's try to alert. So we can say alerts clicked. Let's try, and it's saying clicked. So let's see if we can get the background color. So Control C, Control V. So we are not able to get our background color like this. So what we can do is we can use custom attributes. So we are gonna create a custom attribute, data attribute for them. So we can say data dash color equals to the value of them will be whatever the color of them is. So the first one is black color, the second one is this color. So let's copy it. Oops, I changed it. So let's copy this, Control C, Control V. Let me do that for all of them. So okay, so now here we can say this dot data set. So data set dot color, and this should give us the color. So let's try to click on them. As you can see, when we click on them we get the color code. So this should be hashtag 000, and so we can say this dot ctx dot stroke style will be this. So let's copy this, Control C, Control V, and now if you click on some color, as you can see the path color also changes. And now we have to make the clear button work. So we can say let clear button, let clear button. So clear btn equals to document.query selector, document.query selector. So our clear button has a class of clear and save button has a class of save. So we're gonna say query selector all query selector dot clear. So dot c here clear, and we're gonna add a click event listener to it. So we can say this dot add event listener click. Let's try to do the alert. So let's say alert, let's say cleared for now. Let's see if I click this button. As you can see, it says clear. But what we have to do is when we clear this, click on the clear button, the canvas should be clear. So the way we do that is we call a function called ctx.clearRect, and the clearRect function will clear a part of the canvas. So we're gonna start from the 0, start from here, and the ending coordinates should be canvas.width and height. So canvas.width, canvas.height. So we're gonna start from here and clear all the way up to here. So basically clear the entire canvas. So let's see what happens if we click on the clear button. So as you can see, the canvas gets cleared and we can draw again. So now we just have to make the save button work. So let's target the save button as well. So we can say let save equals to save button equals to document.query selector save, and again we are gonna add a click event listener to it. So we're gonna say button.add event listener click, and when it is clicked, what we have to do is convert this canvas into an image. So to do that, we can say canvas.toData URL, and we're gonna convert it to a png type image, so we can say img/png. And now let's just console log it. So let's say console.log data. Let's see what happens. Oops. So let's see what happens if we click on the save button. As you can see, we get a bunch of text. This is basically a base 64 representation of the image of this canvas. So now we can create a anchor tag or a tag, and let's say let a equals to document.create element a, and we're gonna set the href to this string, and we can say a.download equals to, and whatever we say here, the file will be saved as that name. So we can say something like sketch.png. so let's say sketch.png, and finally we have to say a.click. so a.click. So now if we draw something and click on the save button, as you can see, our drawing gets saved as a.sketch.png. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, toss a like, and I will see you next time.